with this video.
Our
tonight.
iPad died. I plug it back in, and now it's at 68%. It's a garbage iPad. It's like 150,000 years old. We're going to be using Patreon funds to buy a brand new
That's
iPad
what
Pro.
I was just going to say.
We're done. We're not dealing with this anymore.
Listen, thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers that have given us the funds to be able to do something like this, because we do need to update a lot of our equipment. Like a lot of equipment we've needed to update, and this is the one like linchpin that needs to be updated, and I think we needed to thank you for that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I was in the middle of talking about we were talking about fighting with your spouses.
Yes, and you said you know a lot of people that have situations.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about, to be honest with you. I think we just move on from that topic. My point was just going to be something along the lines of, I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember. So
that it's
really
healthy to have arguments.
Well, absolutely it is.
Like,
of course it is.
I've always seen and heard and read like the relationships that never argue, never fight, always agree, end up failing. The people that fight and argue and like you get over like their angers or issues or whatever they're dealing with like day to day, those are the relationships that always end up working, because you're actually saying like, I don't like this, or I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like something that you've done aggravates me, or whatever, what I've done, aggravates you, whatever it is. Like, and you work through that stuff. The people that don't ever talk about that or don't ever do it, like it just boils to a point where it's like, well, I'm not going to live with you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I understand there's like all kinds of situations, and I don't begrudge anybody for doing whatever they want, but my perspective,
Yeah, there's tons of different situations
on relationships is that like when you choose to be in a long-term relationship with somebody, it isn't about, you have to,
there's compromise, there's dislike,
you have to be realistic about it. And people will say like, oh, well, I don't love this person anymore. Well, that doesn't mean anything. No. So love isn't like really a thing. It's not a tangible quality, right? So
it's like an objective thing, right?
I mean, for sure, it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
And it's a perspective, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of,
so,
like a perspective.
It's really complicated. And
absolutely,
to expect in a relationship to be in love all the time. And I'm just going to put the groundwork out here and say everything that I'm saying has no bearing on my relationship because I don't want to get in trouble. But no, the point is like to expect to be in love with somebody forever is ridiculous. You're going to be in love, out of love. But again, the word is meaningless because...
No, I think there's a difference. I think love encompasses all things.
It encompasses a lot. So I believe when you're in a long-term relationship, it's more about companionship, right? It's more about building a life together, right?
Yes.
All of those things are encompassed in love, but people don't give them the credit they do. All they think about is attraction and sexual stuff when they think about love, or like a certain innate feeling that they can't really describe. But the reality of those is a lot of that stuff is in your own power, and it's perspective. It's your perspective on things. So
it is a lot of perspective, and perspective and love, I think, go hand in hand in the way of when you...
Well, it's about expectations. What are your expectations?
No, I don't think... No, you can expect something out of someone and constantly be let down and still love them.
Well, my point that I'm kind of building to on that, and I've had this belief kind of for a long time, is that I think people get really confused by the concept of happiness, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People say, well, I'm just not happy.
Love and happiness are not the same.
Well, and they don't, but let's focusing more on happiness. People say, "Oh, I'm just not happy," and I go, "Okay, well, what are you doing to remedy that, other than blaming other people?" Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is, you're not meant. If happiness should never be a goal for a person to have, because,
well, not necessarily. Like
again,
happiness can be a goal, but
it's not a thing. It's not a tangible, attainable goal. All right. So happiness in itself should not be a goal. All right. It's a middle, right? You need to have.
It's a form of existence.
You have to have a certain amount of security in your life, and you will experience happiness. And you will experience sorrow. And if your goal, if I say to you, if somebody walks up and say, "What's your goal in life?"
We've talked about this before, where happiness is something that you attain after like doing something. Like, but you live at a certain level, right? Like you're just living life.
Security, being companionship,
yes,
building something. But you need to be experiencing happiness.
You experience happiness, you experience sorrow, you experience anger, and it's...
But you can't experience happiness if you don't experience sorrow.
Correct.
Because you don't understand what those things are. They're not tangible qualities.
Inside out.
So when people say, what do you want to do? What this or that? I just want to be happy. My goal is to be happiness. Well, then you have created a bad situation for yourself. Because you're never going to live up to that because it's unattainable, because that's a moving goalpost. It's always going to be moving. That shouldn't be your goalpost. Maybe financial security should be your goalpost, because that gives you the groundwork to experience happiness.
Money will never give you happiness, Chris.
I never said money will. I said financial security will, and it will.
It will.
Or
You're
having
right.
But again, when somebody says as part of a relationship, "Oh, that person doesn't make me happy," I go, well, it's not their job to make you happy. It's your job to make yourself happy.
Absolutely.
And they might say, well, to make myself happy, I need to not be around that person. Not necessarily true, because what are you doing to make yourself happy? Because it's a state of mind, right? What's your attitude? Are you approaching your everyday life with a positive attitude? Mm-hmm. Are you approaching your everyday interactions with that person and everybody else with a positive attitude? That's one. Are you exercising? Are you eating well? Are you financially secure? Are you doing what you need to do? Are you organized? Are you sleeping too late? Are you going to bed too late?
Do you drink too much?
Are you using substances?
Yeah.
I mean, these are things you need to work on, or a person needs to work on, to get that base level to then experience the ups and downs. And I think people get really confused because they look to the outside world to fulfill their needs. But it's never going to, and I'm not going to say
it's 90% internal.
They're never going to be satisfied. If you're looking to the outside world to fulfill your needs, either it's never going to happen, or
it'll be very temporary,
or your needs are wrong.
Well, but you can find something that will make you happy for a very finite time, right? Like you can find something on the outside world that will soothe whatever pain you have or make your happiness elongated.
And that might be drugs, it might be alcohol, it might be shopping.
Yes.
It might be Facebook.
And that's what a lot of people do, and that's what we all see in our daily lives, is that social media makes people happy at certain points because they follow people that make them feel a certain way. Or they go shopping, go to Target, go here, go there, and they buy things, and that makes them feel good. And then
because it does literally chemically,
it does
give you a dopamine response.
Absolutely.
All of these things.
Freaking love buying stuff that I want on Amazon or Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Things like that, it makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about love as a whole, You can't expect all of those things to be what love, like you can't expect love to encompass everything that makes you feel good.
Right.
Love encompasses like the bad, like the good, the in between, the everything.
Yeah.
Like it's literally everything. You are going to not like each other on certain days.
Absolutely.
You will not like
Those
each
are
other.
the downs.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you're not in love. And when you don't like somebody because of what's going on in that day, it doesn't mean you're not in love. It means the outside world and everything that's happening in your life is affecting you.
And
it affects you, it affects them, but you don't know how any other person is thinking.
And the truth is, again, that love is a completely abject thing. So I've heard other people that I've talked to, friends of mine, that have said, yeah, that agree with what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. That would say something along the lines of, you know, a marriage is a commitment and it's about building a life together. They agree with what we're talking about. And they'll say, you know, I will love my spouse for years, and then there might be a period of a year or two or years throughout our relationship where I'm not in love with that person. And then later on, I'll be in love with that person. And again, I understand the sentiment they're trying to put out, and that is fine. And what they're saying is I'm committed regardless, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
My point is, though, like you're using an abstract construct to try and put words to something that don't need to be defined.
No.
They don't need that definition. You know, build a life, be financially secure, raise your family.
Yeah.
You know, because honestly, a lot of the stress of people's lives builds from financial insecurity.
Oh, yeah, 1,000 times over.
But
I think a lot of that, a lot of ruined marriages, ruined relationships, a lot of ruined lives happen over money. I mean, all of it happens over financial
The sad thing is
stuff.
This is where it comes back to social media, because financial security is a moving goalpost these days, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, people either don't understand or they're not willing to do what it takes to get to that point, or they're overspending, or they're not making budgets.
That's where it comes into play. Is like and that's what I was talking about earlier. Is like you see certain people living a certain life, doing something that you don't feel like you can attain or like have, and you start spending money on things that maybe somebody's selling. Maybe somebody's got like that a pyramid scheme where they're sending you hair care products and you get like free things, but you got to spend $150 in order to get this one free thing. And you're like, well, this hair care product is going to get me to a place where someone will love me or someone will find me attractive, and you buy it. Yeah. And you keep buying it and keep buying it. And it's way too expensive when you could absolutely buy something from Walmart that is just as good.
Something that sells American-made products. Yeah.
I'm not pointing out certain things. I'm just saying, like, people get into these routines where they start spending money on stuff from social media that bury them.
This such and such, this friend of mine, they're every weekend they're posting pictures of them on their boat. They're on the boat. They're on this boat. They're on the river. They're having so much fun. Look how great their lives are because they have this boat. I need to have a boat. I can't afford a boat, but I'm going to go put one on
it's gonna make
payments
me happy.
for 20 years to buy this boat.
Yep.
And they're never going to use it, and it's not going to make them happier because happiness doesn't exist. It's an abstract construct.
Well, I mean, happiness exists. It's just that
it's a feeling.
It is a feeling in a moment.
It's not a goal. It's not something that if you buy this thing, you're going to get that. If you're with this person, you're going to get that.
But I would argue that you want to live in that feeling, right?
I don't think your goal should be to live in the feeling of happiness, because their life has ups and downs, and to appreciate a happiness, you have to have the balance.
What is the goal in life then? To like, where is happiness to sadness to contentment?
Contentment is what we should be the goal.
Right.
right? That's the goal.
But in contentment, you can feel happy.
Absolutely, but only in contentment can you
Yes.
feel happy. And well, I mean, other than without using outside forces such as social media or
Right.
drugs.
I'm not
or
saying that. I'm just saying, like,
entertainment or,
living your life. If you are absolutely content with the way your life is going,
that's what you need to be. Yes.
You can see in the future everything is good. Everything in the past is whatever the past was, but like where you're going and what you're doing right now, you are content with. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Isn't that happiness?
Again, no, I don't think they're the same thing. Like, you can be content and bored. You can be content and sad. You know?
Yeah.
Content is just a word we're using as a placeholder for, like, I feel
secure in what I need.
Security.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel secure in every sense of the word of secure. Like, secure financially, secure
emotionally,
secure, like safe. I feel safe.
Yes.
Secure in every sense of the word.
Yes.
Secure. That's content.
That is sure.
Every Friday, I feel content. Every Friday. I love my Fridays. They're like today. Fridays are the best days.
Yeah.
I just love them because 2 boys go to school.
And you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
That is.
And I mow my lawn. That's like, I love it.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that, like, happiness isn't a great thing. Yeah, of course happiness is a great thing. I'm just saying, like, if your goal in life is like, I just want to be happy, you're never going to find that, because it always takes something from the out. If you're in that mindset means something from the outside world needs to make me happy. Whereas contentment is, I'm content because I have done what I need to do to feel secure, and content in what I'm going on.
I
And
feel like
from that position,
security is the word we're looking for. I mean, I know we say content and whatever, but I feel like secure is where it's at.
you need to be able to look towards your future and go, like, I'll be okay, and look towards your past and say, like, I'm comfortable with all that baggage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And
from that position,
Dirk had said 8 minutes ago, he said, it's way easier to blame everyone and everything else.
yeah,
And that is the
including
one thing
your significant other.
you have to get over. You have to understand that blaming other people and everything else.
That means your spouse. It is
Yeah.
not
Oh,
your
yeah,
spouse's job to make you happy.
And guess what? I'm not good at this.
But it isn't. But
I mean,
it's your job to make yourself happy, because 90% of that is having a positive attitude.
If you are happy or feel secure or content, whatever we're saying, you're not going to do the things that displease your significant other because you already know them.
Sure you are.
To a point.
I mean, people are always going to disappoint other people.
To a point, but if you are happy and secure in whatever you're doing, you're not going to do the thing that displeases them. Like, I would know what displeases Amy.
So if
I'm happy and content, I'm not going to actively do that.
I've had this argument with people where they've said, like, how can you really truly ever be secure if you say you work for a company and you're dependent on that for your income, or say you have a business and you're dependent on that for your income, and you've got a lot of money invested in it? How can you really feel secure? Because you don't know that the future's not going to crumble. And to that, my answer is, can you feel secure in your ability that if that happens, you're able to pick yourself up and find yourself a new opportunity? And if you're not secure in that, how do you fix that?
Yeah, you got to fix that first. Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I understand. Barring apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And if you're freaking out about apocalypse, then you got other issues you got to deal with. Right? You know, because you shouldn't be focused on
death.
The liberals are going to get in the power, or the conservatives are going to get in power. It's apocalypse. If Donald Trump stays in office, it's going to be dumb. If Joe Biden, it's going to... You can't.
No.
That's fake. It's fake. That's not real. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
But that's a lot of what's going on right now. And that's
I know,
because of
and that's-
social media.
And it's been over the last 5 years, 6 years. That kind of stuff has been going on. And I don't know. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. What I do know is that we're at an hour and 20 minutes. And I've got a little bit of news to go over. And we were going to do trivia tonight. So, spoilers. We didn't talk about it in the beginning of the episode, which we should have. But we had an idea to do a trivia night where Chris and I are going to do trivia on... Tonight was going to be Star Wars. And we're going to read trivia questions. We're going to try to answer them and see who wins. You guys can participate as well. But what I wanted to bring up real quick is that 9 years ago yesterday, you and I went to a Cubs and White Sox game with Howdy.
We did.
And it was a time.
It was an odd night.
It was an odd day, an odd night. Everything was odd about this day.
Wait, before we get into this story, I just want to give Dirk's got a bunch of comments.
Oh, does he? I didn't watch.
He said, work is the key. Be it on yourself, your relationships, your job. You got to put in the work. And that's absolutely, I think that's what we're driving at.
Yeah, he's nailed it.
It's your effort.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know what you're saying. Like, we did an hour and 25 minutes of this, and that's great. But I feel like I like
I love
having
it.
a deep podcast.
No, I love it.
Occasionally. But I do want to get into this story. So let's Snarf talk story time.
It is story time. So 9 years ago, literally 9 years ago yesterday, what would that be? The 20th, May 20th of 2012. It was before Grady was born.
Before the drought of the century kicked in.
Yep. Before the drought of the century, yeah.
My first full year of farming.
It was?
On my own, yes.
And you decided to go to a Cubs White Sox
Started
game
out
in May?
with a bang. No, we were done with everything because there was a drought. It was dry as fuck.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
And your soon-to-be brother-in-law, they weren't married at the time, were they?
Yes.
Howdy and Mandy?
I believe they were.
In 2012?
Yeah.
So that was the year I had my first child,
I think
2012.
they got married in 2010.
The year after me?
The shed wasn't there, and that shed got built in 2011.
Okay, had to have. Interesting. Anyway, so yeah, me and Chris and his brother-in-law Greg, he was on an episode. Howdy Doody, I think is the name of the episode. I don't know. He was on an episode, but either way, us three went to a Cubs White Sox game. It was May 20th, 2012. And obviously during this time, I remember it was the G7 summit. So there was 7 different governments that came to Chicago.
Yes.
During this time. A lot of protests happened during
It
this time.
was the Wall Street protest, the 1%. That's when it started.
Yeah, 1%er stuff. Lots.
The 99%. That was the
Yeah.
protest.
And we had nothing to do with that. We took the train up to Chicago.
We did. We got on the train in Joliet.
Yep.
Took it up to Chicago.
Went to the game. Watched it. It was great. I think the White Sox won because, of course, they would. And then, obviously, we went to bars after that. And a lot of mob activity, I feel like.
Mob activity? Oh, yeah.
I mean, huge mobs of masked people kept us into bars. Like, do you remember?
That was after the bar. So we went to the Cubs game, had some cocktails, went to some local establishments.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of our friends met us there, right?
Yes.
Wasn't Gary?
Gary was there.
Yes.
He came to the game.
Yeah. So we went to that. Left this bar way past when we should have been there. Go back, get on the L. We're on this thing for like 30 minutes.
Wait. Before all of this, we went to a couple bars. Well, we were standing in a bar, and there was a whole mob of people outside.
But when we even went to the game, when we got off the train and got on the L, remember the people were in masks. There was throwing stuff in the streets. Everything was shut down.
Yes.
We're like texting significant others were like, I don't know what's happening
We don't
here.
know what's going on. We were walking through mobs of people, but I remember being at a bar and we were like ready to leave. We paid and we're going to the door, and then a huge group of people in masks.
Riot. It was a riot.
Yeah, it was a riot going on, and they're like, "Do not leave! Don't leave!" They were screaming at us. So we just stood out there and watched this riot of people go by, and then we just waited, and then they went by, and then we
were
left.
drunk, so we're probably like, I hope one of them comes up and fucks with us.
Right. But then we went to another bar that was under construction. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Oh my gosh. I remember it. And I remember half of the bar you could access and the other half of the bar you couldn't go to. You and Howdy were at one half of the bar, and I left and went on this like outside stairway, like wooden stairway. And I went up the stairway to the construction side, and they had like like big plastic things hanging between rooms. And I went over to this construction side, and then a guy yelled at me, and he's like, "What are you doing over here? Who are you?" I was like, "Don't worry about it."
General contractor.
And I ran away down that stairwell, and I kept running down the stairwell, and I ran over to the other side of the bar, and that guy followed me and found me in the other side of the bar and kicked us out.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember any of that?
No.
I climbed over things to get to that side because I told you guys, like, I can get to the construction side. And everybody told me, no, you can't. You can't get over there. And I did it. And then we got kicked out of the bar. And then after we left there, we went to that sandwich shop.
No. Okay. We got on the L.
Well, do you remember the sandwich shop before we went to the L?
No, that was after.
Oh.
So we got on the L. We're on this thing for like 30 minutes, maybe longer than that.
Could have been longer.
Going back to the train station, we have to catch the last train.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were going to catch a train before the last train.
We got to catch the 9 o'clock train or whatever it was. We're on this train for like an hour, the L. Eventually, one of us looks around. They're like, we're in Evanston. We're supposed to be at like LaSalle Station.
We were supposed to take the red line.
And we took the brown line.
The brown line loops around Chicago.
Yeah, we were literally like in Evanston.
Yep.
So we figured that out, got back down there. We get to the main station. We just missed our train, and the next train was like an hour and a half later. It was the last train out of Dodge at like 10:30 at night.
Yeah, it was. That's what I was gonna say. 10:30 to 11.
So we're like, oh man, well what are we gonna do? So we walk out in the street. We're like, well, I guess we'll go to another bar. Everything's closed.
Yeah, everything.
There is rioters in the street everywhere. Mm-hmm. People are throwing things. People in masks. Nothing open. Windows boarded
and
up.
you've got me and Chris and a guy named Howdy just walking around having the greatest time.
So we found this one little sandwich shop that was like a bodega.
Yep.
It wasn't even a sandwich shop. It was like a bodega.
It was like less than a Quiznos.
Yeah. It was like a gas station. It was like a Casey's, really.
It was good.
We got these disgusting sandwiches.
They were good at the time.
We went back to the train station. We sat down in the train station, ate our sandwiches.
Yeah.
The only people in the train station were police officers.
Yeah.
We were
they were awesome, too.
hanging out with them. At this time in my life, I was a smoker.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a lighter.
This is the best.
So I go up and I asked this police officer, I'm like, hey, man, do you have a lighter? And he just... He has like a burlap sack with him with like thousands of lighters in it. He just dumps them on the floor. He's like, take whatever one you want.
He's like, I've literally confiscated all of these today. Take them. And he dumped them out. And Chris was hoarding all of the lighters just to light one cigarette. It was the funniest thing because I thought he had a plastic bag. He handed you a plastic bag.
It was a plastic bag.
With like 100 lighters in it.
Yes.
He's like, here, just take this. And you did.
Yes.
You're like, all right, I'll take that. And he took like 100 lighters in a bag just to light one cigarette. And then I remember getting on the train and feeling terrible and falling asleep.
Yeah. We all sobered up like in the meantime.
I don't remember coming home from Joliet. I do remember sobering up because it felt like
it was
eternity.
Yeah, it was forever.
on the train from Chicago to Joliet, it felt like my life literally went around twice.
Yes.
Like I had lived my life twice, and I am now back to Joliet. And it was like, this was not worth it.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
It was a great day. I saw it pop up on my Facebook as well.
Did you?
Yeah. And I never forget that day. It was great.
It is a day. Yeah. I don't.
That was
forget
my
it.
first, that was like the world's first experience with masked rioters.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Now it's common, apparently.
I guess the thing. I guess I've heard of it before. Yeah.
But like paramilitary gear.
Yeah, they were like black, like
Yeah.
dressed in black with black masks and hats and
then there's
vests.
us walking down, Howdy with his tucked in button down flannel shirt.
Yeah. I remember getting off the train when we first got there.
I don't think it was a Sox Cubs game.
Yeah, it was. It was Crosstown Classic.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. That's why we went up there. It was the first one I ever went to. Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was
We
awesome.
went to the Stretch.
We did go to the Stretch.
That's a bar owned by some Dwight natives.
It is?
Yeah,
I didn't know
some
that.
people from Dwight own it.
Who dat?
Yeah, and
Who dat?
a friend of ours was a bartender there.
Yes.
That's why we went there.
She lives in Hawaii now, but
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
has for years.
I didn't know that. I don't know her really that well, so.
Well, I do. Sorry. Do you want to do a little bit more news, or you just want to get into trivia?
I don't think we have time for trivia.
I don't think we do either.
So we're going to bring that next week. We're going to have a new segment, Snarf Talk Trivia.
Snarf talk trivia.
And the idea was we're going to have a third person here that was going to give the trivia questions, and me and you were going to battle.
Correct.
But since we don't tonight,
We had some trivia we could read without seeing the answers, and then you had to click
yes.
on the answers
But
to
we'll just do
reveal
it next
them. But
week, and we'll get a third person here.
now I'm really sad. I was excited about this trivia.
That's fine. We don't have time tonight.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, did you know Dave Bautista is done as Drax?
I've heard that. Yeah.
And it's because James Gunn is also done with
Supposedly.
Guardians of the Galaxy. He says he's doing a trilogy. He's only going to do a trilogy, and you're not going to get him to do any more Guardians.
Dave Bautista said,
Dave
I won't do it without him.
Yes. He said, I won't do it without him, and it's becoming harder and harder to be shirtless at his age.
He did say that. He also said,
He's 54.
I read an article, he was one of the driving factors of James Gunn getting rehired.
Oh, yeah. He threw a big fit. Like,
yeah, and he brought the whole cast and he went and met with them all personally. He's like, we all need to boycott. And they did.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew he threw a big fit about James Gunn not coming back, or they had a big problem with James Gunn. And he was like, I'm not doing anything else for any of you until he comes back, which at the time felt weird because
Wasn't a big star, yeah.
yeah, he's not a big deal. Like, why would Disney or Marvel or anybody care?
I don't think they did, but he
About
got the
Dave
rest of
Bautista.
the cast in. He got Chris Pratt in.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you get Pratt,
You got to get the Pratt.
I wouldn't throw him away.
No. He's a
'Cause-
bona fide movie star.
Yeah, it turns out he's worth something. But Dave Bautista is now too. Nowadays.
He was just in Army of the Dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zack Snyder.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Is it out?
Yeah, it's out. It's on
like-
Netflix.
Ready to rock?
Ready to rock.
I need to watch it. Let me see here.
By the way, we have some viewers right now, even at this late hour. Who's still watching? I know probably Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk's still there. We got people.
Yeah, I want to know who they are. Who are these people?
Well,
These
type it in the
mysterious-
comments. while
We got
I talk
a
about-
Scottish man.
We do. So I've seen a lot of things from the UK. Like, it'll tell you like the UK is watching, but you don't. It just encompasses all of those countries within the UK, right?
Right.
So you don't really see what's happening. And I see that the UK is watching.
So Vic's still in. Nolan. Vic's in Manica.
Up
Vic is going to be on the podcast next week. I forgot about that. He will be our trivia master.
He needs to read it if he actually comes. If That is
last
your
time
real
he
name.
blew us off.
Oh, I know. Anyway, yeah, Scottish guy. His name's Nick. No, it's not. His name's Joffrey.
Is it for real?
Well, it's either Jeffrey or Joffrey. I don't know how he pronounces it.
Okay.
I don't know how
Is
Scottish
it G?
people. It's a G.
It's
yeah.
Jeff.
I texted you.
It's Jeff. Geoff. That's Jeff.
It could be Joffrey.
It's not Jeff.
You never know.
No, Joffrey is Joffrey.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Joffrey in Game of Thrones was with a G.
Okay.
Just saying. My name is Gerald,
Anyway,
and it's a G.
he has a podcast about beer.
Yeah.
He likes our podcast. He has a Kickstarter. He wants to be on the podcast. We may or may not do that. Worst case scenario, we're going to shout out his project. We're going to do that next week. But
Yeah, he's got a comic book that he's writing. I need to look into it more. So does Chris.
Vic said, not going to be on for a couple weeks. We'll explain later. Dirk said, is he bringing any of that Bitcoin he keeps slinging?
No, he won't bring it.
It's not worth anything anymore.
Bitcoin is.
It's went down big time.
didn't?
Crashed and burned.
Bitcoin?
The Chinese government said they will no longer accept or allow any banking institution in China to accept, trade, or do anything with Bitcoin. And the price...
Well, that's pretty significant.
It has come back a little bit since then.
Oh, interesting.
Vic will tell you it's a buying opportunity, but we're not getting into it.
Okay. Either way, yeah, we have a Scottish friend. He wants to be a part of the podcast and get on it. He has a Kickstarter, and we're looking into it. So, and he also has a podcast, so that's pretty cool. I think it's neat that we got someone to reach out to us. Finally,
From Scotland.
we get some outreach.
I mean, we've been waiting for a Scot
Oh my
forever.
gosh! To be honest, I think we should have him on the show no matter what, just because of his voice.
Yeah, that's true. I
The
don't
dynamic
like
of
interviews, though.
Of his voice.
We
and
did
ours.
one once.
That's different, though.
We didn't care for it.
That's different. I
Once
don't mind it. I don't mind interviews at all.
Nolan says Snarf coin in a world.
Can we make that?
Yeah.
How do we make that?
Listen, I'm a tech genius. I could do it in a heartbeat.
I'm a tech genius.
Should we make a Snarf coin?
Absolutely, we should make a
And
Snarf
then just
coin.
like pimp it out to Dave Portnoy like nonstop?
Yep. Snarf coin.
Snarf coin.
We should. I don't know how we support that or how you do it.
We're going to do it.
I don't know.
We're
what
going to do
happens.
it. Hey, Nolan, if you want, Nolan's a techie dude. If he figures it out, we'll give him a Snarf coin, which is going to be worth $1 million.
A Snarf coin.
Well, we got to figure out how it works.
We'll give him a Snarf coin.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how it works.
I'll give him
either.
1,000 Snarf coin. They're meaningless.
Or
at
a
the beginning.
percentage.
At the beginning, they're meaningless.
Well, of course they're meaningless.
It's
Until
not a percentage. It's like, okay.
No, you can have a percentage of what is bought, right? Like a percentage of the.
No, you can't. You just can own the coins or not.
So we give him 10 coins.
Right. Give them 10 coins. We take 10 coins. We make a maximum amount of 200 coins total.
Okay. And we're billionaires.
Yes, because the coin, listen,
Yes.
has a finite supply. So the demand will go crazy. Supply and demand vis-a-vis one coin's $100,000.
Why is there a finite supply? I mean, it's Snarf coin. It's infinite.
Well, that's the issue. Well, that's the thing with Bitcoin. It's a finite supply. There's only so many Bitcoins that can exist
Why?
because it was set. There's a
It's
set.
digital.
No, there's a set number of Bitcoins, and you have to mine them. And once they're all mined, there will never be any more Bitcoins.
What do you mine them from? What are you mining them from? It's a digital
Algorithms.
fake thing.
You don't even understand how this
Fake.
works. So let's
I
not
don't.
let's not get
I
into
just-
it.
This
Let's
is
not get into it.
stupid. This is stupid.
Bitcoin, there's so many coins. They're mined. The algorithm to mine them gets progressively harder the more and more coins get mined.
So you have to you're going to have to create a fake algorithm for
It's not a
Snarf coin.
fake algorithm. We can just
Well, I mean,
build
I
it
guess.
on the Ethereum platform. It's fine. Listen, my point is Dogecoin, which came out as a joke,
Yeah.
The idea behind Dogecoin is that literally it was a joke, and it was a joke because there was no limit on the amount of Dogecoins that could be produced. So at any time, the creator of Dogecoin can just make more Dogecoin.
So you create more of that algorithm?
No, they just release more coins.
It has to be something that you get though. Like
A coin. You buy a coin, but they can
you're
release
buying
as many coins.
what on
A coin.
It's not a real coin.
It's a digital coin, but what's any different than a dollar sign in your bank account online? You're not getting a dollar.
Yeah, that's true.
But the point is, how's that any different than the U.S. currency? They can just make more.
Right?
Bitcoin is actually limited. There's a limited supply of Bitcoin. There will never be any more Bitcoin than the amount of Bitcoin that they determined from the beginning was the maximum amount of Bitcoin. That's what makes it valuable. Just like gold, there's only so much gold, and you have to mine it. We don't know how much gold.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like you don't know how much gold. If we know how much Bitcoin,
Nolan just said it. Scarcity brings value, like gold. Exactly right. That's the problem with Dogecoin is they can just make more because it's a joke currency. I'm not saying,
but I mean, they can make more Bitcoin.
No, they can't.
Why? Who says they
The
can't?
algorithm that was produced only was set for a certain amount of Bitcoin. Listen, okay, this is how it works. I'm just going to use random numbers. When they made the algorithm for Bitcoin, they said there is 100 Bitcoin. The only way they can be mined is for computers to process this algorithm. The processing of the algorithm is what's called the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And in that algorithm, the computer processes that are happening are verifying the transactions of Bitcoin that occur. So there's a function to the algorithm, security.
Mm-hmm.
So it's logging and securing the transaction. So when you pay me with a Bitcoin, the algorithm is double checking and rechecking that you haven't paid another person with the same Bitcoin. Okay. You can only pay one person.
Yeah, it's like a serial
Security,
number.
right?
Or,
It's like that.
yeah.
So as more Bitcoin get mined, the algorithm gets progressively harder and harder and harder and harder to solve. To the point now where it takes like years to mine one Bitcoin. So the miners that are mining Bitcoin are doing it as a part of a collective. So they're joining a group of miners so that if one miner gets the Bitcoin, they have to share it with all the other miners that are in their group.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand? So it will. They know when the last Bitcoin will be mined, but it's a long ways off because the algorithm just gets harder and harder and harder. So right now, if it takes 2 years to mine a Bitcoin, in a couple of years, it might take 10 years to mine a Bitcoin. And then it might take 100 years to mine a Bitcoin. You understand?
Yeah. So the number of Bitcoin that they've created as the number it has to be huge.
They just picked a number.
But it has to be huge, right?
It's not that huge.
Well, there are people that have thousands and thousands of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's 21 million.
21 million.
There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Once they're mined, which should occur in 2140, there will never be any more Bitcoins.
So who is the leading holder of Bitcoin right now? Like who has the most?
I'm sure it's the Chinese government.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure it is.
You're sure, but you haven't looked it up.
I've heard it. I'm pretty sure that's right. They have huge Bitcoin mining operations, the Chinese government.
Do you want me to look it up? Or can
they
you
built
look it up?
hydroelectric dams just to power Bitcoin mining warehouses.
What?
Yes. It's ridiculous.
Oh
it's a
my
thing, man.
Gosh. That is unbelievable.
Approximately every 10 minutes, Bitcoin miners discover a new block.
Every 10 minutes?
Yeah, right now. But that's going to expand. It's always expanding, right?
Well, yeah, you said 2040 something?
2140.
What?
Yeah, that's
It's 120
next
years.
century. Yes, that's right.
119 years. That doesn't make any sense.
In return for discovering a block, the miner receives a fixed number of bitcoins for their work, called a block reward. When the Bitcoin first launched, the reward was set at 50 Bitcoin. But the rewards halve every 210,000 new blocks, which is every 4 years, roughly. Now a block reward is 25 Bitcoin. So right now, if you mine a block of Bitcoin, you get 25 of them. They're worth roughly $50,000 a piece.
Right. That's a lot.
The most recent block halving occurred in May 2020, cutting the block reward to 6.25 Bitcoin. The next halving will occur in 2024. That's why it's ever increasingly difficult to mine Bitcoin.
Right. So the price is going to go up as it's halved. Like,
Not necessarily. The price is independent of mining, right? So
but the
the
less
price
there are,
is like the stock market, right? It's a commodity exchange,
yeah, people are moving them around.
buying and selling them. So mining them is kind of dependent. The value of a mined Bitcoin is just dependent on whatever the traded value of that Bitcoin is.
But if the less amount of people start mining Bitcoin, the more it's going to be worth.
Well, more and more people are mining it. The problem is it's getting harder to mine.
Right.
And mining Bitcoin requires electricity.
And the less
Computer
you're going
power.
to the less you're going to get when you get them.
Correct. That's why it makes it more difficult. So the more mining blocks that you can join into are gigantic, right? So you might be in a block with 1 million miners.
Right. And if you're going to get 6.5 Bitcoin with 1 million miners.
But they're worth 50,000 a piece. So now you're talking about, you get the idea.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you're guaranteed to get a certain amount of Bitcoin from mining. It's just what are you getting? 0.000000001 Bitcoin per day, because it's an algorithm, right? So it does make sense. The problem is
It doesn't.
it's getting increasingly more difficult to mine, and it's requiring more computer power, which
Here's the deal.
requires electricity.
We're making Snarf coin. We have to figure out how.
We'll figure it out.
You're going to do it tomorrow
Me and Nolan will
with
work out.
Nolan.
Yeah. Snarf coin. I like it.
I like
a goat?
it a lot.
It'll be a goat?
Oh my gosh. It'll take off. I'm going to put it on Reddit.
It will take off.
Snarf coin, goat coin, whatever you want to call it.
Snarf coin. That's what it is.
Oh no, I know. It's called Snarf coin, but people are going to be like, I'm buying the goat. We're buying the goat.
Yeah, the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
Portnoy is
coin.
going to love it.
You're right.
Immediately, it'll jump from worth less than a penny to
Millions.
even if it's worth 50 cents from a penny. Look how much money we just made.
Yeah, I mean, that's 50 times
Yeah.
what it was worth. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Here's another big deal. So you like AT&T, right?
Not really.
No, me either. But you like Warner Media
Yeah.
and you like Discovery?
Indifferent?
Okay, well, Discovery is a big company. Warner Media is a big company. AT&T owns Warner Media, which used to be named
AT&T Time Warner.
Time Warner.
Yes.
AT&T announced a $43 billion deal to merge Warner Media and Discovery together, and AT&T is not going to deal with any of it. It's like basically telling Discovery to take over Warner Media, and we don't want anything to do with it. So they originally bought Warner Media, AT&T did, for like $85 billion. They're getting rid of it for $43 billion, but it's ending up, AT&T still owns all of these things, but Discovery is going to run it now. Like they're not, AT&T has no
So
dealings
Discovery
with
is
any of
going to
this.
run Batman?
Discovery is basically running all of Time Warner or Warner Media. Yeah. Discovery owns, like, obviously the Discovery Channel, TLC, Food Network, things like that. I don't. There's a couple others, and then obviously Warner Media has HBO. What else? DC. There's more.
Yes.
There's a lot more with Warner Media, but anyway, they're combining.
Comedy Central? No, that's Peacock.
Either way, they're combining with each other, and what they're claiming.
BET.
Maybe.
They do own BET.
Okay.
And MTV, I'm pretty sure.
But apparently, at this point, the president or CEO of Discovery is going to take over the entire conglomerate. And the guy that's running Warner Media is probably on the out.
Okay.
And the reason for that, like a lot of speculation, but what people have said, the reason for all of this happening and the reason why AT&T kind of wants to offload this onto somebody else to manage is because of the whole HBO Max releasing movie thing.
Oh.
Like all of their deal when like new movies came out to, the movie theaters, they were going to release them live on HBO Max. That had a huge, like...
And it's not happening anymore, right?
No, it's for the whole year.
For this year, but not after that.
Not
Originally,
after
they were going to say it was forever.
Right, but not after 2021. But all of 2021 movies are coming out on HBO Max that Warner Media has anything to do with. So it's a lot of movies, and apparently it didn't.
But also HBO Max is
right.
blowing up.
Of course it is. It's huge. But what they're saying is each separate entity for their streaming services are reaching about 40 million people apiece. That's what they're saying. Discovery, like all of the Discovery channels, all of the Warner Media channels are reaching about 40 million people apiece. They're claiming that if we combine these together, they're going to reach over 400 million people.
Wrong.
That's what they're claiming. They're saying this. They're saying
happen.
Right now, if we put everything together, we're going to reach about 150 by the end of the year. But then they say going on. Now, this doesn't take effect until 2022.
Yeah, except that doesn't take into effect also that there's people that had both.
So,
and also,
I know, but here's the deal. What you have to figure is that there is going to be one streaming service for everything they have, because there's Discovery Plus right now that has a bunch of stuff on it. There's HBO Max. There's
but they're going to give us Discovery
Warner
Plus on the HBO Max, and they're not going to raise the price.
No. There's multiple channels, so there's going to be one singular streaming platform from this conglomerate.
Right, it's going to be HBO Max.
It's probably going to be HBO Max.
It is for sure, but here's the deal: I already pay for HBO Max.
Well,
I'm not going to pay more they're discovered. They're not going to ask for more money than $14.99.
Well, that's true. They shouldn't. But HBO
Actually,
has always
Netflix
been so
is
much.
up to $17.99 now, though. So.
No, it isn't. Well, it depends on how many TVs you watch it on.
It is. I don't have that level of service.
No,
but if you have, and it's not even anymore. It's not on the number of screens anymore.
I thought it was the number.
If you want 4K, you're paying $17.99 a month.
Why do you want? Why does anybody want 4K?
I don't, but some people do.
That's silly. 4K doesn't give you anything different than 1080p. You can't tell the difference on a TV, even if you buy a 4K TV. You can't tell the difference.
You can't. And
your
also,
eyeballs are
the
shit.
4K that you're streaming is compressed.
But they're fooling you. They're fooling you into something better. Your eyeballs can't tell the difference.
Right.
Stop.
At a distance on a large TV.
In anybody's living room. Are you sitting
literally you can tell inches? A difference in Oculus for sure. Because
that's inches from your eyeballs.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Are you sitting 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from your TV screen?
Well, of course not,
no,
Jerry.
That's stupid. So don't buy 4K and quit living up to this hype. If you get into 8K and above, I'm sure we'll see a difference on a big screen TV.
It just depends on the size of the screen, right?
But at some point, there's only a finite capability of your eyeballs, like what you can physically see.
On the size of the screen and how close it is to your eye. A movie screen that you're sitting in the middle of a movie theater at, you want that in 4K. You will tell a difference between
on a movie
1080p
screen
and 4K.
Okay, I can understand that because of the vast
The size of the pixels.
of the pixels. Yes.
Right. So anyway, where are we at on time? Because we're out of it. Right?
We're at an hour and 55 minutes.
Okay. So that's it.
I have one more thing.
Okay. We're not doing what you're watching?
No, I don't really.
We
have
don't
much.
really have that much anyway. I started rewatching season 2 of Harley Quinn.
I haven't watched any of that.
It's great.
I started watching a show called Mayor of Easttown.
Sounds terrible.
No, it's with what's the lady from Titanic? Never let go, Jack. Rose. What's Rose's name? Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet. She's a detective in this town. Murders happened, I think. I watched one episode.
I watched that new show. I started that show that has.
Can I finish mine?
That dude, the Hobbit guy in it. It's on Netflix.
Nobody cares about Hobbits.
He's an FBI informant. No. It's got the guy that played the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins. It looks awesome.
The old guy?
No, he was in Fargo too.
Oh, yeah. I know that guy.
That guy, yes. It's called Startup, I believe, and it's on Netflix, and it looks really awesome. It's also got Adam Brody.
He was great in Fargo.
From the OC, so for David Seaton Top fans out there.
Yeah. I'm going to dinner with him tomorrow.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Mayor of Easttown. It looked good. I watched one episode. I kind of fell asleep at the 3/4 of the way through. A lot of people told me it was really good. I'm going to watch it. Anyway, one more news article. Highlander. Did you ever watch Highlander?
That will be only one.
I watched Highlander all the time. My brother got me into it big time.
I did watch it quite a bit, but when I was pretty young.
I was very young.
Don't remember a lot of I understand the concept of it. I've seen the movies more recently.
I don't remember the lore, the lore around it, everything about Highlander.
I've seen it. I understand most of it. I'm pretty familiar with it, but I'm not a super fan.
People hated the movies. It was
all I really know
panned.
is the movies.
Me too. Yeah. That's how I feel too. I did watch the TV show on USA. There was a TV show on USA back in the day. And
Originally, it was just movies, right?
Yeah, but there was a TV show, Highlander.
Okay, I didn't.
I watched that.
Oh, yeah, there was. I do remember that, too.
I watched that, and I liked that stuff a lot. I loved swords and cutting people's heads off.
Yeah.
And they did that a lot. They're rebooting Highlander. And
seems legit.
I'm all for it. And it's the same guy that did John Wick. It's the same director that handled all of the John Wick movies. I feel like he could do a really good job with the whole cutting people heads off with swords. And guess who they're pinpointing for Highlander? The main character.
James Franco.
Not at all. He's outed.
Yeah, he canceled.
Yeah, he's definitely canceled. Henry Cavill.
He's the perfect choice.
He looks good.
He's already the Witcher, though.
He's the Witcher.
And he's already
looks
said,
good.
He's hardcore The Witcher.
Of course he's
real into it.
But it's a different property. It's something completely separate.
He came out with an article that said The Witcher is his way to continue to be Superman. Because it gives him negotiating power.
It makes sense. Yeah. Now, none of this, what I read, is not set in stone. I'm just saying they are reaching out to him and trying to pull him in. And
I don't think that he should do that
because
it's a very similar to a Witcher role.
And I think that's why they're pinpointing him.
And
because it looks very similar with the gray hair and
The Witcher, Highlander nowadays is not as big of a property as The Witcher.
No, it's a reboot.
Yeah, it's a reboot of a property that most people don't remember
from the early 90s.
Yeah, so you're only targeting people that are 40 plus.
Well, okay. I'm 34.
And you barely remember it. So
I remember it.
Most people your age, age,
don't even know about it. I'm all for that. I think it would be really great. I think he would do a really good job. But yes, I agree with you. I don't think that will ever happen. I think he's going to stick with The Witcher, and we'll see what comes. But I'm holding out hope that he will be Highlander because I think it'll be really good.
I
good
think
with a
it
sword.
should be Sean Connery.
He's dead.
Damn it.
No, I'm joking. He's still alive, but he's very old.
I think it should be the dude that was on that show, the IT Crowd.
That's a made-up show.
No, you know the guy too. He's great.
That's a made-up show.
No, it's
The
not.
IT Crowd? Who would watch that? Somebody that's making...
Chris O'Dowd. I think it should be Chris O'Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd. Is he Irish?
Yes.
I know that guy.
Yeah, you do know.
Yeah, I do know that guy.
He's great.
No,
he's phenomenal. That should be the
that's
guy.
not the guy that should be wielding a sword.
Why not?
He
If Jim
can't-
Krasinski can be Jack Ryan, Chris O'Dowd can be the Highlander.
John
Whatever.
Krasinski.
Jim was his character's name.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point. I don't know. Chris O'Dowd, he seems like he's drunk all the time.
What? He's so lovable.
The way he talks.
He's so likable. He's a very good guy.
You don't need to be likable to be the Highlander. You need to be the guy that is only one. There can be only one.
Who's the bad Highlander? The evil one.
I don't remember.
I don't know either.
Is that a question that was brought up to
Look,
us?
who could be the evil one? Is what I'm saying.
Who could be?
Sean Connery is 100% dead, Jerry. Is what
He is?
Nolan said, yeah.
When did he die?
I think recently, like within the last year.
I didn't think he was dead.
I've heard about the Highlander reboot, but I'm
Sorry.
pretty sure it's about
Sorry,
a
Nolan.
dude who is fantastic at landing aircraft during storms, and it was always super baked. Highlander.
I get it.
I think Nolan's super baked.
Yeah. Your humor is above mine because I didn't get that. at
Dirk
first.
says, I hear they're in talks with Giamatti. He could be the bad Highlander.
He would be the bad Highlander because he's so angry all the time. He's an angry man. Kind of like me about rhubarb and hard butter.
Bringing it full circle.
Full circle.
I think we've reached our time.
That's it. That's it.
Next
for
week we get a new segment, Snarf Trivia.
Snarf Trivia coming at you.
We have what we've been watching, updated, and like and share the podcast. Check
And
out
Snarf Homework.
Snarf Homework. The Phantom is due next week.
Yeah.
Like and share the podcast. Share it on Facebook and all those places. Patreon.com/Snarf Comics is where you can support the show. That's how we buy the Rode Podcaster Pro
And your new iPad.
and probably a new iPad. So, because this one is legitimately
Garbage.
8 years old,
It's done.
it can't function. It won't even accept the new update. It won't do it.
Oh, well, that's out of date.
It's just like, no.
It told you, no, I'm not
No.
doing this anymore.
Every time I turn it on, it's like,
It
the
retired.
update failed to install. And
That's-
I'm like, click the button that says why.
That's
And it
why I
says,
got a new computer.
Because no.
That's why Amy got me a new computer because
Yes.
my computer would also not accept new updates.
Yeah. So, for a Snarf Talk this week, I've been Chris.